Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cast and Spear podcast. My name is John, and today is our final episode with Captain Ben Choi. You can meet him on Instagram. Shoot him a DM at cap.benchoi. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
So I like to ask this question to guys who spearfish, and it's a pretty straightforward one. It's why do you spearfish?
Oh man, I think spearfish mainly to provide food for my family and for my loved ones. Um, I love fish and I love everything about fish. I think also spearfishing, just the idea of being able to kill something myself, and seeing that all the way through to the dinner plate. There's something about that that's very, very appealing for me. I use that same philosophy in hunting and land animals. It's actually pretty rare for me to buy meat in the grocery store. Like, I think the only meat that I really buy in the grocery store would probably just be like a really nice steak or something like that. You know, I'd say that 90% of the meat that I eat myself, I've either killed or my buddies have killed, as far as deer or wild hog or fish. I trade a lot of people fish for deer. Just kind of bartering system with friends. Um, so that to me, like, that's the big appeal of being able to know where my food came from.
Dude, I love that. Like, I'm slowly kind of, as I get more and more into spearfishing, seeing the barter game behind the scenes. And I'm all about that, man. I'm like, give me some of that game meat. I want some of that good stuff. And I'm also getting to that point too where I'm like interested in going in on like a cow. It's like, oh, it's like this one was grass fed on a farm, like small family here locally. I'm like, I'm down. It's like the price per pound is not that bad.
Yeah, and you have a vacuum sealer. That's when you got to get the chamber bag.
Ah, dude, I'm getting one now. Now that you said it, I'm gonna go get one. No, that's amazing. I do feel that spearfishing gets us kind of into the roots of, getting one with nature and really, you know, seeing the whole process from start to finish. I think that's huge. But another cool thing that you've done is actually get an IUSA world record for a certain
Yeah,
fish. What fish was that?
it's Jack Crevalle. It's not really a highly prized fish over here. It's actually considered a trash fish because, like, their meat is super bloody and super super gamey. But it was right when Pole Spears World Records had just opened up, and I just was in the right place at the right time to get a world record, Jack Crevalle.
So how big was it?
That was 24 pounds.
Nice. Nice. So tell us about it. Like walk us through like the day, how what it was like when it showed up and you let the spear go.
So I was off of Texas. I was living in Texas at the time. We were spearfishing some oil rigs about 50 miles offshore, probably about 300 feet of water. Um, it drops off super quick out there, and I had known that these Jack Crevalle were going to be there, and I brought my pole spear just out of fun. We shot what we wanted to do that day, and the Jack Crevalle were just still sticking around, and so I just jumped in and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go shoot one, and there's thousands of them. They're all about that size, probably even bigger.
So you were saying that you went down, you saw thousands of these, 20, 30 pound Jack Crevalles. So what happened? Were you on scuba or was
No
this
diving.
free
So
diving?
you can't
Nice.
can't submit an IUSA world record.
That's
On
right.
You have to free dive for them. I dove down, like 30, 40 feet, and one of them just swam right in front of me, and I stuck him. But I was on the float line, and so he took the float line because they're pretty strong, powerful fish. They're a jack species and they fight really hard. So he took the float line down to about 60, 70 feet, and so I'm at the surface fighting him up on the float line, and then I see this huge mako shark come in, like, and he's just going for him, and I was like, I really don't care about this fish that much to like fight a mako, like fight a 12-foot mako for this fish. So I just let it go. um, and thankfully, like, the mako just went away, and I was able to like pull him up and land him. But if that mako had decided to eat that fish, I would not have been super upset and not have fought him that hard for it.
Is it common to see Makos in that part of town?
No, it's super rare, and so, well, in that particular rig area, yeah, it's known for makos, but like, I had never seen one before.
How big was that? Would you say like 500 pounds or?
I don't really know, like 12 foot maybe. So yeah, maybe like 400 or 500 pounds. Pretty big guy.
I would be scared shitless, man, to just see that thing come out of nowhere.
Yeah, like I've seen a lot of sharks and it's fine until you see like a really big one with a really pointed nose.
So for those who aren't aware, it's like, okay, now you got that fish, you got it in by yourself. Then what do you do? Just weigh it when you get back to shore and then fill out the forms and
To certified scale, you have to have a witness. So now it's actually pretty easy. Neptonics has these scales that are already pre-certified. They're like hand scales. They didn't have that when I was doing this. It was a long time ago. But now you can just keep up the certification on the scale year to year, and then you'll have a certified scale in your hand, in your truck. You can even bring it on the boat with you. That's ready to be a world record scale at any time. And
nice.
so then you fill out the forms and submit the application, pay the application fee, and send it off to IUSA. And you get to write a little story about it, send them a picture, um, send them the form, and Sherry and the rest of the council will vote on it and see if they approve it or not.
So how long did it stand before it got taken over?
Years, and I think I haven't paid attention to it recently, but I think someone else broke it, but I'm not too sure.
Oh, you don't know the name and you don't send them nasty messages like I hate your guts. Like,
It was in Bermuda, so like that's kind of a consolation, to me.
absolutely. Are you trying to get more, or is it as they come? If it happens, it happens.
I'm always trying to get more, but I think at this point, like it's really hard.
Yeah, that's the whole problem with it, right? It's like if you were early, it was like you just write
Yeah,
your own ticket. Who cares, you know? But at some point, I'm almost like you're going to get to a threshold where there's not going to be that many fish unless you spend like thousands and thousands of dollars to go to remote areas in the world. So it's almost like a rich person's game at some point. Do you even want to play, you know?
sure, for sure.
Well, that's. Do you have any other fish that are memorable to end this whole series?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I shot a pretty cool like 32-pound Cubera snapper, freediving in the Gulf. The fish are usually like bottom fish, and they're usually don't see them in the Gulf. They're kind of rare, um, for freedivers to shoot at least. And so this guy was just chilling up on the surface. He's only like 20 feet. He was chilling with like the rest of the barracudas, and I looked down and I was like, "That's not a barracuda." So like I dove on him, but he took off, and I shot him like right above the anal fin, like really really bad shot, like really bad shot on him, and instantly the bull sharks came in. The Jewfish were chasing him around. I had to put a ton of pressure on him, and I thought for sure it was gonna like tear off, but I was able to get him up. My buddy put a second shot on him and stoned him, but like the fact that like that shot held, it just sometimes just shows you sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Absolutely. And then to wrap everything up, what is one thing you want to leave with the spearfishing community? Like what piece of insight, advice, anything?
Oh man, I don't know. Learn from the people who've been doing it for a lot longer than you have. I see a lot of new spearfishermen coming in to the community, and they think that they know everything. But there's just so much. Every day I still learn so much more from the old guys. Just listening to them talk. Those guys had to pioneer the sport. They had to make their own spear guns. Like now you can just go on Amazon and buy whatever you want. Like these guys had to figure out why like shafts shoot straight and like what kind of material to make these shafts out of and what bands are best. They had to shape their own freaking spear guns with their hands. Now you have like 500 different spear gun brands. So like those old guys have probably forgotten more than we'll ever know. So just respect the guys who've been pioneering the sport for a lot longer than you.
Respect the legends and stay humble. I love it.
Really.
Well, Ben, how can people find you?
Yeah, you can just hit me up on Instagram. It's like I said, CAPT Choi. Love to hear from any of the listeners to the podcast. Please feel free to DM me anytime.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Hey, one more thing before you go. Do you like this podcast? Well, we're trying to keep it ad-free as much as possible. And to do that, we just ask if you could support us. That'd be amazing. Just head over to shop.castandspear.com or consider contributing to our Patreon page. Thanks so much in advance. See you on the next one. Bye.